Hey, how's it going, man? Hey, so I was driving here today, and just listening to a couple podcasts while being stuck in traffic. And you know, the craziest thing, man, is it just hit me. It might sound a little crazy for some of you guys, whoever listens to this, if anybody, which is fine. You know, one more time, I just need to talk out loud because I don't really have anybody to have these conversations with. But it just hit me, man. What's happening right now in America between the Democrats and the Republicans, it's identical with the exception of obviously the war that's happening over there. But the entire situation is identical to the Republican and the Democrat issue that we're having now, right? It's identical, man. So let me just go over a couple things, right? So Israel, Gaza. You have one side that, is just constantly poking the bear. Constantly poking the bear. And one more time, I'm not going to get into who's right or wrong. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just pointing out the similarities, right? So you have one side constantly poking the bear, right? Constantly poking the bear. And, they do things like shooting rockets into the country, into another person's country, right? And so you have the other side, who's like, okay, we got to protect ourselves. So they put up an iron dome, they shoot down the rockets, they put bomb shelters, etc. They put up a wall to separate them. They're like, okay, we don't want anything to do with you people. And so you have one side constantly poking the bear, and you have one side that's constantly like, from the outside in, trying to play nice, right? Trying to be political with everything they do, right? You have one side that's raising their children to hate the other side. Nicotine. From birth, they're raising little militants. They support and continue to vote for the government that they have that's very militant against the other side, right? The other side that's constantly getting attacked and that's being told that they're the reinvention of Hitler and, all these things. What do? They try to play nice. They try to, be friendly. They're like, well, you know what? We'll give you money. We'll give you, shelter. We'll help you build. We'll give you supplies. We'll give you food. We'll do this. We'll do that. So they're always accommodating the other side in an effort to try to get them to just simmer down, man. Simmer down. You live your life. We live our life. Let's just chill. But it can never happen, right? Because that side is just hell bent on imposing their ideology, their ways, getting what they want. And then you have the other side that's like, they're just bending to every single action. Not with an equal and opposite reaction, but with a reaction that's, they're trying to be democratic and, political and get things done without violence. And one more time, this is just what I see, right? I'm not one of those people that's going to believe everything on the, especially if it's being reported on CNN or one of those channels. I don't believe none of that. None of that. Right? What I believe is what I see. When you have one side of the people trying to get to the other side because it's safe, but you have nobody on this side trying to go over here because they're likely to get killed, I can draw a conclusion from that. I don't need to watch a CNN clip about what's going on. The good people don't run to the bad guys. The bad guys run to the good people to say, save me from them. You understand? It's just common sense. It's just logic. You don't need to be a fucking rocket science. You don't need to listen to a million hours of commentary. You just have to see where people are trying to go. That's it. It's so simple. People do not run to the bad guys. People are forced to stick with the bad guys. It's a form of slavery. It's in, you understand? Like, they're in jail. And granted, a lot of people on that side are just good people. In my last little video I made, like I said, 90% of the people in the world are good people. It doesn't matter where you go. Yes, in some countries, that 90% might be closer to 80%. But the people who are freaks and fanatics, they're a minority, guys. They are a minority, right? The extremists and these crazy people make up a small percentage of the population everywhere because most people just want to chill and live a good life. It's just the way it is. So I'm just pointing out the difference. The teachings on one side are kill them, conquer them. When you conquer, take their women as slaves, sex slaves. Oh, and if you just so happen to die while sacrificing yourself, you will be rewarded 72 virgins in the next life. So whether you live today and get you a sex slave through conquering, if you die, you're going to get all that and more. Either way, you're rewarded for negative actions. And then you have this side that's saying, are you retarded? Are you like, how stupid does that sound? Like, are you insane? You want to die and get 72 virgins? Like, in what world, in what spirituality does this make sense? In what universe? You understand? That any reasonable person could look through that and be like, I gotta go. But one more time, these are people that are from birth. From birth, they are taught this. And if you have anybody from birth and you teach them wacko stuff, I mean, America, we have our own version of this. We call them cults. Right? We call them cults. And then we have a few, militias running around. Right? Raising their kids about black power and white power. You even have like the brown berets, brown power. If you've never heard of them, you should look into them. It's the Mexican version of the KKK or the Black Panthers. It's all the same shit. If you want to call them the brown KKK, the black KKK, the white KKK, they're all the same thing, guys. It's just you've been trained to think that KKK is the only bad one. No. The Black Panthers are the same thing. They're just the black version of the KKK. You have the brown berets. It's the same thing. It's just the Mexican or Hispanic version of the KKK. They're all trained from birth to hate each other, to hate everybody that's not the color that they have on them. So I'm not going to play this nonsense where it's like, no, the KKK is an extremist. The Black Panthers, they're there to protect. Shut the fuck up. That's stupid. You're stupid. They're the same thing. You don't have to believe me. Just listen to the way they talk. Right? You have the Nation of Islam doing the same thing, but with them it has nothing to do with race or color. It has to do with ideology. If you don't believe in Allah, you deserve to die. And all religions have this fanatic groups within them. The Jews have the Zionists. Most Jews are just good people. They just want to live, man. But then you have these small group of freaks, the Zionists, that are just the Jewish KKK. You understand? Every group has, every race, every culture has its own group that's its own version of the KKK. They just call themselves something different. And because it's not labeled KKK at the end, you people think it's not the same, but it's exactly the same. So these people are raising kids from the day they're born to hate the other side, go kill the other side. Either way, if you conquer them, you can get you some sex slaves, you can use them as you want, and yeah, you're rewarded. Or if you die, son, mijo, if you die, you're going to get you 72 fresh, clean badges. Right? One side is taught to hate, go kill, go conquer. The other side is like trying to be tolerant, trying to be political. And well, just like any bear in the wild, you poke it long enough. You can poke, and it'll just dismiss you. But then one day you kick it. And the fucking bear was like, and let's just say the bear allowed you to kick it. It waited for you to kick it. It gave you the opportunity to kick it. It was like, you know what? This motherfucker keeps poking me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll over my belly. And I'm going to put it in perfect kicking position. So that this motherfucker, if he ever wants to just stop poking and he wants to go ahead and kick me, I'm going to let him kick me. I'm going to let him kick me. And when this motherfucker kicks me, I'm going to kill him. Because I'm done. I'm done with this motherfucker. I'm done with this. I'm done with him poking me. I'm done. But poking me doesn't justify me mauling him to death. October 7th happened. You can say maybe the bear rode over and allowed the other side to kick him in the stomach. I think there's some truth to that. I do. I think the bear willingly rode over and sacrificed himself to get kicked. So that way there's justification to finally do something back. They needed a good justification. You know why? Because here's another similarity. When this side does everything they're doing, launching 50 rockets a day into the other side, nobody reacts. The world doesn't react. The UN, NATO, BRICS, nobody reacts. Everyone's like, it's just another day, bro. It's a rocket. You shot it down. And you're like, it could have landed, guys. It could have killed our people. God, look, bro. You have the Iron Dome. You're fine. It's 100 rockets a day, guys. Something needs to happen. And so the world doesn't take your security seriously because it sees you as the bear. Right? And who's to say they also just don't like you for whatever reasons, right? Maybe you gave them good reasons. Maybe you gave the world good reasons. Maybe you as a country individually didn't do anything. But maybe the people who followed you in the past, maybe they did things that pissed off the world. You know, these Zionists. You know, the ones that created the banks. But those people don't live where you live. Those people are spread out because they're not Israelites. They're globalists. They're conquerors of the world. These are the people that created the system to enslave the world. And so they don't have any loyalty to the state of Israel, to the actual Jewish people in Israel, because they don't live there. They don't care. They're somewhere in Ukraine, Poland, Qatar, France. Like, they're everywhere but in Israel. So the people that pull these strings, right, and piss the world off, they label themselves as Jews, and therefore the taint of the Jew, because the Jews are so concentrated in such a small landmass, it gets hyper focused there, right? And well, these people have done a good job of getting the world to hate them. But those people have little to nothing to do with the people in that country, because they're not the same people. One more time, you have the Jews, you have the Zionists. The Zionists are the ones that control a lot. The banks, the financial institutions. A lot of them are in Switzerland with the World Bank, the IMF, other things. So you have this side every day trying to kill this side. This side's able to just defend itself. It's nothing. It's nothing. They're like, oh, it's all right. But they get tired of it. And so they roll over. They give you their belly. And they know you just can't help yourself, because from birth, you were trained. You were taught that any chance you can, take it. You know what I'm talking about, guys. So, finally, this bear of people, they're tired. They're exhausted of this people poking them. So not as a group, but as a government, they finally make the decision to let themselves be kicked. So they have justification to do what they've been wanting to do for a long time. But because they were playing politics, rather than punching back at the time they were getting punched, they have all this pent-up anger and hatred right now. And so they allowed a situation to happen that would allow them justification for the world. Look what happened, guys. Now we're going in and we're going to kill these people. So now they have covering or cover, whatever the fuck you want to call it, guys. Don't care. And so they go in and they do what they are doing today. And they're like, we're not going to stop. We don't care what you say. The world, we don't care. And so you have this whole entire machine, this whole entire media apparatus that is good at propaganda. Good. They are the best, guys. Nobody better. Nobody better. And well, they're in cahoots with the rest of the world, right? Remember, a lot of the world doesn't like these people, but they don't like, it's not that they don't like the people in Israel. They don't like the people that created the institutions, the ones that did a lot of these bad things to enslave people financially. But what they don't realize is those people aren't in that country. Those people are spread out because they are not. They're just not. They're Zionists. They're globalists. They're conquerors. They're the kings of kings in a human form. And so they're not going to be there. Why would they be there? That's stupid. It's like the equivalent of, our elites in Washington or in California. They're not in Los Angeles. They're not in San Diego. They're not in Washington or New York. The elites of the elites are at Martha's Vineyard or somewhere in New Hampshire or far away from the inner cities. And they have these little cocoons that they've carved out for themselves with extreme security where you can't even get within 20 miles of them because their gates are larger than the Vatican walls. Their security is tighter than Fort Knox. The entry, the entry is name, power. You understand? So this side has the full media apparatus on their side. And they will say whatever they need to say to make the other side look bad. So it doesn't matter that this side, the left, doesn't matter that they've poked the bear by launching rockets, by raising their kids to hate them and want to kill them. It doesn't matter that they've done all that for who knows how long time, right? Doesn't matter. What matters is when this side finally reacts and some of these people get hurt or killed, or some of their buildings get destroyed. That's what matters. Because one more time, this side is in cahoots with the media. So the media is not going to report the story. What they're going to report is the action, the reaction that was taken because of the action. And they're never going to explain the action, or if they ever explain the action, it's only because they had to, and they're going to water it down and justify why they had to. Now let's do everything. Let's just take everything I just said and let's shift that over into America between the Democrats and the Republicans. Charlie Kirk was just killed, assassinated, murdered. A lot of these kids that are hardcore leftists, they were bred that everything conservative, everything on the right is a Nazi, a fascist, a transphobe, a homophobe, a Islamophobe, every phobe, every ism that's out there. They were trained, they were conditioned from birth. They then go to colleges where the institution doubles down on their beliefs and they're surrounded by more like-minded people. And so they group up. And then they riot when things don't go their way. They vandalize. They take over, buildings, structures, streets, cities. And what do the conservatives do? Nothing. Nothing. What do the Republicans do? Nothing. Because they're seen as cowards. Because they don't ever react. Nothing. All right? They try to talk to them. And then when they go and try to talk to them, these people end up throwing rocks at their face. Try to swing skateboards to hurt them. Start shooting fireworks. Industrial fireworks at them. And then the cops come and try to bring peace. But you have these left-leaning mayors that align with the people that are causing the chaos. And so they're like, be careful with them. Don't hurt them. And then only arrest the people that you have to. And then when they arrest them, they let them go with no bail. And keep in mind, I actually agree with no bail. For the most part, but not in all cases, right? If you got arrested for a speeding ticket that you forgot you had a warrant, do I think you should have to pay bail? That's stupid. If you didn't have the money for a speeding ticket, how the hell are you going to pay bail, right? You're going to have to go in more debt? That's stupid. Or let's say somebody accused you of something, but there's no witnesses. There's no evidence. There's no video footage. That's stupid. Why would you have to pay bail to get on something that somebody accused you of when there's no evidence other than he say, she say? However, let's just say you're a black person, a black guy and you're riding the train, and this real pretty Ukrainian woman, white woman, Ukrainian, comes and sits right in front of you, and you just happen to pull out a pocket knife, and then you stab her. And so there's a train full of witnesses, and then there's video footage from the train. So it's without a doubt that you're the person that did it. Absolutely not. You should not have no bail. You understand? Now, when the evidence is clear and concise that you are most likely the culprit, if not positively the culprit, no, you should not have bail. But if like you understand, it's not rocket science, right? And so getting back. So these people who are caught vandalizing, who are caught lighting things on fire, terrorizing neighborhoods, well, they have no fear because they know that they're going to get arrested, which means they're just going to either be relocated to another area where this is not happening, but to try to separate them, and they're going to be dropped off somewhere else. Or if they get booked, they know that within an hour they're going to be released on no bail, no charges. And then they just make their way back. Why? Because they're in alignment with each other. And then you have the media apparatus who's going to frame it as a mostly peaceful protest, as there's a building in the back that's burning, as people are throwing bricks through businesses, as they're chasing innocent grandmas through the street, and they're going to be like, there's nothing to see here, guys. Look, it's mostly peaceful. Or they're going to do their best after they failed to convince people it's mostly peaceful. They're going to do their best to justify it as, well, this was necessary. They might tell you, after somebody murders somebody that they don't agree with, ideologically, that they might just read their text messages that they sent to the person of their lover, right? Their lover, and be like, oh, this is such a poet between two people who are deep in love. Look at the compassion being shown. Look at the care. This is like a love story. This reminds me of The Notebook. All the while, they're talking about a person who assassinated another person for the mere act of having different opinions. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to humanize the guy because they agree with him. They're in alignment with him. And all the while, you have this side just poking and poking and poking and poking and poking. And the other side is seen as cowards because they're not reacting. And so these people keep poking and poking and poking. And there's going to come a day, if it didn't happen already, where the conservative movement is going to lean back, roll over, show them the belly, and give them the opportunity. If it didn't happen already. And that's going to be the day where the fighting really begins. And that's going to be the day where you see Gaza getting destroyed, Palestinians getting displaced and massacred. That's going to be the day where all these lefties are going to realize what they did. Because they thought the bear was a coward. When in reality, the bear was being complacent, tolerant. The bear was doing its best to allow the person or group of people or organizations the opportunity to fix their ways, to get back in alignment with what's right and wrong. And then there's just going to be that day where tolerance disappears. And now you just need justification. And as the bear did, just sits back, rolls over, and gives you that big belly as a target, and sets the opportunity and gives it to you. And just waits for you to take it. And that's going to be the day the bear wakes up and mauls you. And that's what we're seeing in Israel, Gaza, right? Is it not identical to what we're seeing here in America? I'm a conservative, guys. The reason I'm a conservative is because I believe in God. I'm not going to pretend like I know what God's name is. Could it be Jesus? Could it be Yahweh? Could it be Allah, Buddha, Judah, or any one of these 100 different names that are constructed? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. But I believe there's a God. I believe there's a supreme God. And I believe that God's name is God. Because no matter where you look, no matter what religious text you see, they all refer to a God as God. And so I don't need to know God's precise name. I just need to know that God is there. God is true. God exists. And that He is referenced as God in all scriptures that exist. And so that's why I will call God. When I talk to God, I say, God, dear God, I love you, God. You know why? Because I'm not going to pretend like these books that were written by man are accurate. I'm not going to do it. Because it's in human nature to pervert everything. It's in our nature, guys. It's who we are as humans. That's why not just America, the world would never be this utopia. It can never be this utopia that people dream of. It's because people will always act in their best interest. And then you will have a small percentage of people, for some reason, will always go above and beyond to take advantage of other people. Then you will have another small group of people that are just trying to take everything for themselves. And then you have the 90% of people who just want to live their life and just want to take whatever they need to sustain their little ecosystem. You will never root out the 10% of people that just are bad people. You'll never root them out. You just can't. You can have every kid snatched and seized by the government, raised by the government. And guess what, guys? They're all going to come out different. They're all going to be different. because we are individual people. We have individual souls. We have individual spirits, whatever you want to call it, man. We're individuals. And I can say a single sentence to 100 people, and all 100 people will process that single sentence differently. Just the way it is. Utopia will never, 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 never exist. And the chase for utopia is one of the most dangerous things humans have ever tried. We should never be chasing utopia. What we should be doing is just trying to be better every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year for the rest of our lives. And if we do that, things will just gradually get better. But we will never, ever reach utopia. The closest we'll ever get is good enough. I'm sorry to say it. It's really like that. It's just truth. Don't believe me? Look at the past, all of history of man. Look what they did to God in the Bible. You had a man trying to create utopia who had the power, who had the ability to convince people, to show them, and they still turned against him. That is human nature, man. And instead of fighting it, we should just accept it and just work every day to be a little bit better than we were yesterday. I hope you see the similarities that I'm pointing out between Israel, Gaza, and what's happening here in America between the Democrats and the Republicans. There will come a day where the Republican movement, the conservative movement, sits back, rolls over, and gives them the opportunity to get kicked in the stomach. And that'll be the day where things go really bad. Because, let's be honest, guys, the only reason America is stable is because of conservatives. We are very, very, we're very good at restraining ourselves. We're very good at being tolerant. We're very good at accepting people for who they are. And the moment that tolerance, that acceptance comes to an end, that's when these people who just won't stop, that's when they're going to be like, oh my God, what did we do? And I think this has happened multiple times throughout history. And I think the history writers have done a good job of masking what actually happened and perverting it to be what they wanted it to be, which was a love story between somebody who's a cold-blooded murderer and their trans boyfriend to humanize the people who are doing the wrong and to make the people who just finally had enough, make them seem like the bad people. I really hope you see the similarity because it's right there, guys. It's as black and white. And up until right now, I really wasn't pro-Israel, and I really still am not. But up until today, when this just for some reason just crossed my mind and just like I'm driving and the similarities were just boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh my God. I get it. I get it now. I see it. I see it so clearly, more clear than I've ever seen it before. And so for anybody that made it this long and you still don't get it, the Palestinians are the Democrats, the Israelis are the Republican conservatives. You have one side being tolerant, you have the other side trying to hurt the other side, doing everything they can, raising their kids, brainwashing their kids from birth to hate the other side for the mere act of believing and thinking differently than they do. But that side has the backing of the media, of the institutions, of local governments, of DAs that have been installed. Those people have the backing of the people that pull the strings. Because one more time, those people, they might in name be Jew, but they're not in Israel. They're not there. They're in Qatar. They're in Switzerland. They're in Poland. They're in Ukraine. They're everywhere but there. And they don't care. They don't care if the local Jewish people get killed. They don't care. You understand? Because to them, a Palestinian is a Jew. A Jew is a Palestinian. A Muslim is a Palestinian. A Muslim could be a Jew. Everybody is the same to them. We are all pawns, guys, when it comes to these people, these powers. They see us all the same as roaches. And so, as sad as everything that's happening over there is, and these people are victims to their own demise. Like they've, yeah. Unfortunately, they are creating the hell that they're currently living in. That's all I got, man. I really hope that somebody sees what I see as clear as daylight. It's there, black and white. And now I understand why Israel most likely allowed October 7th to happen. Now I understand why they're doing what they're doing in Gaza. And who cares what Dave Smith, Candace Owens, all these other figures have to say. Because I respect those two people. I respect them. They're so smart, both of them. Who cares what, the Tucker Carlsons and all these people have to say. And I'm just pointing out people on the right wing. I'm not even going to talk about the people on the left wing because it's all of them. The propaganda has been so strong and it's convinced you that the people who are poking the bear consistently are the good people. And that the moment that the bear gets tired and reacts, well, all of a sudden, genocide! It's fucking insane. Do you get it now? The propaganda is so strong, these people don't even see it. And for a while, I was like, it's looking really bad. But for some reason, it hit me today, guys. I would say the vast majority of us have been captured mentally. Because the propaganda is strong. Okay, that's all I got, man. thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I went deep, and I know it it's gonna sound crazy. I know it sounds crazy, man, because I'm gonna play this video back and listen to myself so I can see how crazy it sounds. But God, it's right there. It's right there. Just look at it. Just take the blueprint of what's there, and you can copy and paste it in here, and you see the same exact thing. And it's all controlled by the narrative of media and social media. It's got you. Malcolm X, I think it was Malcolm X. He said the media apparatus will have you loving your enemy and hating your neighbor. It's something like that. It's so strong that it'll have you loving your enemy or your oppressor and hating your neighbor. It's something like, look it up. And I think that's what's happening right now. We've all of us have thought that we were so strong-minded that we couldn't fall for it. But I think it captured a lot of us in regards to that one topic. All right. Thank you one more time for your time.